Have you known a moment you couldn't quite explain? Years ago, I watched as a teacher, once at death's door, transformed after practicing Falun Dafa. Inspired by his journey, my husband and I embraced the practice, and with each passing year, our health and outlook quietly but steadily improved. The greatest test came during a harsh winter, locked in a crowded detention cell while illness swept through. Guided by faith and the principles of truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance, we stayed well and supported others. This is our personal story of healing, courage, and the gentle strength that comes from a spiritual path. I have been practicing Falun Dafa for more than 20 years. Master's immense grace, compassionate salvation, and protection have allowed me to make it all the way to this day. I am extremely grateful to Master. From the time I started Dafa cultivation, I've witnessed Dafa's miraculous and supernatural powers. I would like to share some examples with you here. My husband introduced Dafa to me, so I need to mention a university teacher who had a great influence on my husband. In the early 1980s, my husband's teacher suffered from a serious heart attack and was saved in the hospital after going into cardiac arrest. He fortunately survived, but he had to stay in bed for a long time to recuperate, and he could not do any heavy work. The teacher was an associate professor, and he had to retire because of his health at the age of 43. This was a heavy blow to him. My husband is a warm-hearted man. When he heard about the teacher's situation, he helped him by doing manual work to relieve the family's pressure. My husband later went to Harbin City to study for his doctorate. Half a year later, when my husband went to visit his teacher, he was amazed because the teacher was carrying a gas canister upstairs. What panacea had cured his teacher's illness? The answer my husband received was Falun Gong, also known as Falun Dafa, a very unfamiliar term. It was a kind of Qigong and a completely unfamiliar field. How could a scientist believe in Qigong? Qian Xuesen, known as the father of China's aerospace, once called Qigong human science, and devoted considerable time and energy to its exploration and research. At that time, many people opposed the phenomenon of Qigong and tried to curb its spread. Qian Xuesen wrote to the head of the central government, indicating his support for supernatural abilities and Qigong. Due to Qian's special position, the then head of China, Hu Yaobang's views on Qigong were directly affected. Hu finally announced his policy toward Qigong: no publicity, no introduction, and no criticism. This policy gave room for the development of human science and Qigong. More importantly, this inclusive attitude also gave people the opportunity to regain their health through Qigong exercises. In this special historical context, my husband's university teacher had thought that since hospitals had no good way to treat his illness, maybe Qigong could. Such a person who had not believed in Qigong began to learn more about this field because of a desire to have a healthy body. With the attitude of giving it a try, he bought a lot of Qigong books and practiced various types of Qigong, but there were no obvious changes in his body. In 1994, Master Li Hongji, the founder of Falun Gong, gave a lecture in Shijiazhuang City. This teacher was fortunate enough to personally participate in Master's lecture sessions, and this changed the trajectory of his life forever. His body underwent great changes after he practiced Falun Gong for less than half a year. He used to wear thick cotton pants in September and October every year, and it was difficult for him to go up and down stairs. But after practicing, his complexion improved, and he could buy vegetables and cook by himself, and even go up and down stairs. My husband witnessed the improvement in his teacher's health. The teacher, who had been told by the hospital that he had little time left, was miraculously cured without any injections or medicine after he practiced Falun Gong for less than half a year, so my husband also began to practice Falun Gong. After my husband practiced Falun Gong, his body and mind began to improve. He had been studying for his PhD in Harbin at the time, and the winters in Harbin were very cold. He would get severe colds every year, and it would take him more than a month to get better each time. After cultivating Dafa, he did not catch a cold again, and his health has been excellent. He has not needed any medicine. His mind became clearer, and he knew what to do. During his tenure as a doctoral supervisor, he led his team to win many awards. My husband benefited a lot from practicing Falun Gong, and because of my husband's influence, I also started practicing Falun Gong. I have always required my words and deeds to align with the principles of truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance in my work. I am recognized as a good person by my colleagues. I haven't taken a single pill for more than 20 years. My family has also praised Falun Gong. In the winter of 2022, when the pandemic was severe, I was locked up in a detention center because of my belief in Falun Gong. The cell was just more than 40 square meters, and nearly 30 people were detained in it. We didn't know what was going on outside, but we saw that the guards were all wearing isolation gowns and protective glasses. The food delivery staff were also wearing isolation gowns and protective glasses. We all felt the seriousness of the pandemic outside. Someone in the cell then caught COVID, but the detention center doctor said it was a cold. After that, everybody had to constantly do nucleic acid testing. Except for me and a fellow practitioner, everyone was infected with the virus, bedridden, had high fevers, and was aching all over. Not only was I safe and sound, but I also took care of other people without thinking about whether I would be infected. The people in the cell witnessed the power of Dafa and how Falun Gong practitioners care about others. The people in the cell were amazed that Falun Gong was so extraordinary. I told them that the best way to avoid the plague was to sincerely recite the two auspicious phrases. Falun Dafa is good, truthfulness, compassion, forbearance is good. Curious to learn more? Try searching for Falun Dafa and the teachings by Master Li Hongji to begin your journey. For first-hand experiences and detailed information on human rights in China, visit minghui.org or look up respected organizations such as Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch. You'll also find Falun Dafa's official site and published lectures with all the authentic teachings and exercises. For your convenience, I've included helpful links and resources in the description below. If this story inspired you, please subscribe, like, and share, because every gentle story shared helps more people find hope and strength.